Hear the story, man.
Wait, you said he did what?
So basically, my dad, I love him, but like this was, man, I was heated, like, because I've been saving all my like high school, college, middle. Of course, I got college stuff,
Yeah, college.
but I've been saving like every coursework from high school. Everything we did from Central, I had saved, like
What?
every course I took from freshman year.
Yeah.
So I saved everything. So there's times, like I'll go through the boxes from time to time, like not as frequent, but it's just like, all right, like twice a year. If I'm in the garage, I'll just peek through it like, okay.
I'm checking up on my stuff. Yeah.
One day I go through the garage, I'm like, yo, the boxes are not there. Like, they probably moved it around. So I'm just like looking everywhere else. I'm like, man, it's not here. And it's like 11 o'clock, about to be midnight. And I'm tweaking. I'm like, man, I just know they didn't throw it away. I'm knocking my parents' door. I'm like, yo, like,
where my stuff at?
Yeah, they're like sleeping. I'm like, yo, do y'all know where my boxes are? And my mom's like, you may want to go ask your dad that. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you may want to ask. So that was basically her friendly version of saying your dad threw it away. And it's just like, yeah, like I got heated, and it's just like, man, like I gotta go drink right now. I told him, like, I gotta go drink because I can't believe you just did this. And it's just like, yeah, like, but that's basically it. And it's like, I'm not gonna say they forced me to apologize, but African parents, like when you,
Yeah, they always be in their feelings and everything.
yeah, and it's just like I had to, because he put it in the group chat, like look at the mean things Andrew said to me, and it's like, dude, you started this, like how am I supposed to?
Yo, they be in their feelings, and I don't even know why. Yo, that's crazy. What?
Yeah, dude. So I basically had to like apologize for something he did, and it's like, so the only record now I have is basically like my transcript, my high school he threw my cap and gown, everything. Like,
what?
Bro, yeah, bro.
Oh nah,
Yeah.
because at least I probably still have mine. I think like mine's just still like in my closet, but threw everything away, like no explanation.
Like,
he didn't even ask you.
Yeah, because I think he was cleaning the garage, so he was just like, all right. He had that mindset of like, if it's here, it's going. So he went through the boxes and was just like, all right, this is Andrew.
It's probably trash.
Yeah, he's like, I'ma just. But the funny thing is, he took what he felt like I needed. He was like, all right, yearbook, all right, I'm gonna take it. Everything else trash.
So trash your cap and gown.
Yeah, dude.
But keep the yearbook.
So I'm just like, man, dude. So yeah, and that's another reason why I feel like, like I just had to like stop journaling and just start like recording everything. Like, so.
I mean, but you still got your digital journals, all right? Because I know you remember. I remember you used to keep like digital journals, like on your. So you still have all those.
But even that was getting annoying, because even like when I wrote in it, like I typed it up, it was done. It was just like I don't plan on reading it. It was just the mindset of like I just had to like do it just to bro.
You know, you're the reason why I actually started video journaling.
Oh really?
Yeah, because like what's it called? Because I remember when you had a journal and like literally like every day after school, like you would literally just like be sitting on the edge of your bed and you would just be like typing, just be like, yo, like today I went to like the dining hall, or I saw this girl. Yeah, this girl was nice. I talked to her, this and that, blah blah blah. So on my notes app, I can literally show you. I literally have like months and months of like history of just like literally like certain things like. Oh, like I met up with Stephanie and then I was like talking to her and then I hung out with Angel. We probably like went to this party and then we came back. Andrew was messed up or something like that. And I literally just went ahead and just kept it. And at some point I was just like, yo, I don't know how Andrew does it. I don't know how he's been doing this for months, let alone years. And I was like, bro, but there's just like no way that I feel like I could personally just do this like every day. Cause sometimes like it would be like, let's say for example, like it was like, maybe like something that happened like 2 days ago and it's like, yo, I forgot to journal. And it's like, damn, I'll have to sit there and I have to remember exactly everything that happened that day.
Yeah, there were times where if I didn't write in my journal every day, I would update it like after 2 months later.
Yeah.
But then I would make like I would have a notepad where I would just like write a summarization of like what happened that day, so that when I'm ready to update it all together, like I remember like little details,
little certain things and stuff like that. And at some point I was just like, bro, I can't do it, bro. I was like, I'd much rather be able to like visually see like everything that I was recording. So, and even at the time, like what's it called? Snapchat didn't have like memories, and then Instagram didn't have archives. So at this point, it was either one or two things. Either I had to like take the video and save the video, or like I just took the video, but it just never went. So at some point, for some of the memories that I have, some of them are saved, but all the other ones before even Snapchat memories came out or Instagram archive came out, like I don't have any of those videos because there was no option to save it back then. But after that, like when they came out, with my whole Snapchat, and that was the start of junior year. I remember exactly what happened. That was the start of junior year. All of a sudden, like I was just like, bro, I'm saving everything. I had the time where it was like you, me, Luke, Rasheem, Sydney. We were all just like shooting, like in the gym. There was like the open house. There was like the start of the kickbacks. There was like I literally have every single memory.
No, you did great. You did great because you were basically ahead of your time. Because it wasn't until either this year or last year that I realized like I can't journal no more. Like I'm turning myself into a madman. And then I thought of the times that you were always recording. I'm just like, man, this dude's iCloud must be like it must have like 20,000 photos and videos. And it's just like, yo, I feel so stupid. Because there's times like I'll have these journals on my laptop. But then let's say my laptop crashes, and I'm not trying to get a data transfer every time, and that's happened before. Like times I'll turn on my laptop and it's just like, dang,
it's gone. But you still have stuff that's on there and stuff like that, so you have to get it out, and obviously you have to pay to get it out.
But it's just like, man, so you were definitely ahead of your time. So it was through you that I realized that. Well, you were. I'm not gonna say you were the main reason, but you were definitely a factor. You were the second factor. The first factor was like in the second grade, like I'm an ESOL student, and then there's a guest speaker who talked about like, hey, since you guys are young, you may want to like start writing down your thoughts and ideas. So I took that seriously, like from elementary, middle school, high school, I'm journaling everything to the point where like I'm getting older, realizing like, yo, like I've been doing this my whole life, but I just gotta do it in a more simpler way.
No, and the good part about it is that like at the end of the day, you can always look back on it. Like right now, I'm like, yo, like I have videos of us like when we were in high school, like when we were sitting in like social studies class, like political science, and then like with Miss Humphreys, everything like that. I have like videos of us when we first started college. I have photos and videos of us on our first day of college. Like I have photos and videos of us. I don't know if you remember. It was like you, me, and Luke. And then, we were like walking around like Piedmont North and stuff like that. Like there's just like that's what I'm saying. There's so many videos. I have videos of the dude who was drunk driving and he was on the other side of the street and he crossed into us and crashed into the tree. I still have the video of his car smashed into the tree and the dude like lying down on the ground. Like I literally have videos of like everything. So like at some point I'm just like, if I ever do want to look back, if I ever do want to like reminisce, if I ever do want to share, like I can go ahead and do it. I don't even know if you remember, but there was like one time we were sitting in like Piedmont. It was like you, me, Rasheem, Sydney, Luke. Like all of us was just like literally like sitting in the lobby of like Piedmont North B, and we were all just like, just chilling and just talking and stuff like that. And at one point we were just like, yo, let's just go on the elevator and let's just go to every floor.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember.
And I still have the whole video of the whole entire thing. So it's like when you look back, you be like, yo, Andrew looks so young. I remember you were just like, because I remember Sydney and Luke, they were beefing with each other. Like Luke was talking about like Sydney's gums, and he's like, bro, look how black his gums are. And then Sydney was probably talking about like how African Luke was and how dark he was. So they were just like going back and forth. Like, yo, guys, we're supposed to be brothers, but don't do this. And they were like, yo, don't get in the middle of this or we're gonna start getting on you. And Andrew, you just like, yo, listen, all right, y'all got it. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just funny stuff to like look back at that. And that's the main reason why I was just like, yeah, like I like to record all this type of stuff because a lot of people might not remember, but I remember those videos. Like I remember those times because I keep it. And when I look back on it, I'm just like, yeah, no, these were like good times. These were like funny times. So I look back, I can show my children in like 20 years. And I'll be like, yo, this was your dad in college. Like, this is how like I used to like hang out with my friends. And this is like some of the activities that we used to do. Like, some type of like digital because I can write it down and I can type it out, but the effect doesn't hit as different as like whenever you're actually like recording and like showing people like exactly like your own life experience. And a lot of people enjoy the type of buffoonery that I be posting, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I be just like posting a lot of stuff.
That's dope. So what was the genesis behind the reason why you felt the need to start recording everything?
I mean, I really wanted to start recording just because like I wanted to keep like a history of like different things. Like, really I feel like when we first went to college, it was kind of really, I'm not gonna say like the Zoe 101, but it was just really more of that experience where it was just like, okay, bet, like we're in a new place, we're in a new era, we're by ourselves, like we're our own men, like this might be a time where we can go ahead and have some type of enjoyment. So at that time I was just like, all right, cool, like let me go ahead and just like show, okay, yo, this is me and Andrew's like first day, we're chilling in the dorms. And I think Snapchat was really the one that kicked it off because when we were in high school, not a lot of people like watching my Snapchat and stuff like that, but like now that like we were both like roommates, and everybody already knew me and you as like some of like the funniest people like on campus. They were just like, yo, I wonder what adventures like they would be up to. So be like, yo, we're outside, like you'll walk around like Georgia State and stuff like that. Yo, you see this person just like tripped up, or oh, like we probably like went to this party, and it was like, oh, okay, like this person was over there just like they just got into a fight or something like that. People would like they would tune in, they would watch, they'd be like, yo, Dayo and Andrew are always just like doing like something different like every weekend and stuff like that, and people would start to get entertained. Like people were just like, oh, I like what you do. Oh, what kind of craziness are y'all gonna go ahead and get into like this time? Oh, y'all are so funny. Like, y'all always doing something different. So I was just like, I wouldn't say I necessarily like the attention, but it was just really more like I feel like what I was doing, like it actually like kind of mattered in a sense. It was like kind of like a documentary of just like showing just like rawness. Like a lot of people like they like to have like different types of facades and like different types of personas that they put up on social media. Like some people they like to be bougie. Some people like to go ahead and be like quiet and like mysterious. And I was just like, nah, this is like literally like our everyday lives. I'm not gonna go ahead and post something that doesn't necessarily matter. Like there's some type of entertainment value to life. Like life doesn't have to always be boring. Some people they post certain things like, yeah, this is a mood or this is that. And it's just like, yeah, it's pretty simple, but how does your life look? You only show a certain portion of your life, and that certain portion of your life you're showing because you want people to only see you in that type of light. But the thing is, there's more to your life than just whatever you decide to post. So what I was doing, I was posting everything. So I was like, yo, if me and Angel are on some type of adventure, we're all like walking around, we're doing this and we're doing that, we're talking to girls. If we're just like talking and messing around with the RAs, if we're just like talking to security, if we're just talking to random people on the street, it's like, yeah, like these are our experiences. If we're going ahead and getting ready, if we like turning up and we're all like listening to music and we're chilling in the dorms, like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and like post that. Why? Because it's real, it's authentic. Like that really was probably like the start to kick of it to be like, all right, like, I just want to go ahead and be different than like what everybody else is doing. So, yeah.
I see. So there was always, even though you were vlogging everything, there was always a passion behind it. Like you weren't doing it just to get something popping.
Yeah, nah, it was never in the sense of just like I wanted it for attention. I never really had any attention given to me, even in high school or even in my earlier days of college. Like I just really just did it like for myself, and I just did it to go ahead and make sure to keep the memories just alive, really. So I think that was like the main reason why I was just like, yeah, let me just go ahead and record, because there might be certain situations that I want to remember, and all those situations, I literally look back on my laptop, I look back on my Snapchat memories, I look back on my Instagram archives, and I'm just like, let me go ahead and take like a trip down memory lane and like see exactly like what did I do back in like 2013? What did I do back in like 2015 on this day? And it's like, oh, okay, I remember like me and Andrew, we were standing outside like the Shell gas station, and there was like a lady that was trying to go ahead and just trying to say, oh, hey, I got kids, and oh, can you go ahead and give me some money, knowing that she didn't even use that money for her kids because she didn't have kids. Or, for example, like the one time when we went to like the homeless shelter because we wanted to go ahead and do some community service hours, and we met like the woman that was stranded from Chicago with like two kids, and she didn't have a place to stay. I recorded it from like I recorded it when she was even telling her story in the car, because I was just like, yo, like this is crazy. Like I was like, yo, like I want to be able to go ahead and hear her whole story. And it's not like I posted that, but it was just to keep it. And then I recorded them when they were like inside of our dorm room when she was like sleeping. And yeah, like her kids were like playing around. Her kids were just like over there just doing this and just doing that. And then I have videos of like even some of our friends coming into the dorms and playing with the kids. I have videos of her cooking up the food for her kids, because it was just like a memory that was just like we could think back about how it happened like years later, but we might not necessarily remember. But the thing is, like when you have like a video, if you look back just randomly, you're like, yo, I remember when that happened. Like, that's crazy. And that was like an experience that like as long as you go ahead and continuously remember, you'll never forget.
That's true. That's true. Cause I think that's why I'm even trying to dive into the digital path, because writing everything, and then when it's time to describe it to someone, it's not gonna hit the same. But if you describe something and then you show it to someone, they'll be able to feel what you're trying to portray to them. So I really appreciate how you've been on this path. Going back to high school, and it wasn't until like last year that I realized, like, man, I'm writing down my thoughts and my ideas and my opinions, but like where is it really going? It's better if I just get on camera and just express myself better. Now, someone told me that I shouldn't give up journaling entirely. So I don't know how to feel about that. I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna give it some more thought, but I really think I'm trying to podcast to journal from now on.
No, and the thing about it is you can always do that because at the end of the day, we still have like a lot of like major influential people that they just talk about just different topics, and whether it's just like in pop culture, whether it's about like music, whether it's about anything, they go ahead and like talk about it, and they are who they are for a reason. Like there's people like DJ Academics who when he first started, he was really just talking about like different topics that were happening in Chicago, like the war in Chirac. So when he was talking about certain things like that, there was like a lot of controversy because he was just like giving like nicknames to like some of like the Chirac savages. Like he would call like Lil Reese like, the Grim Reaper. So it was just like always like different things like that where he just first started off by just like talking about like certain things that just happened in the area. And then he went ahead and expanded because the people that he was talking about, like, yeah, some of them were like Chicago goons, but some of them were also rappers. Like when he was talking about like Chief Keef and like Little Dirk, and he was talking about like producers, like, like wow. So at the same time, like when he went ahead and expanded past that, he went ahead and just started talking about like the music culture just in general. Like he started talking about Drake, he started talking about Kendrick, he started talking about J. Cole. And then after that, it started to blow up to the point where it's like he just started to talk about pop culture. Like he'll go ahead and talk about like, the Travis Hunter situation. He'll go ahead and talk about like, Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez. Like he'll go ahead and report on just a bunch of different things like in society. Like, oh, what happened with the Diddy situation? When Takeoff had died, he went ahead and investigated the whole scenario. Like he was just like, I see this guy in the back. This guy, he went ahead and charged that Takeoff and then started shooting. Like he literally went ahead and just like broke down the whole thing from the moment that the video had surfaced of everything. He was just like, from this video, we're gonna go ahead and find like these girls' Instagram, these guys' Instagram, see what they posted it, see what they posted from their own perspective. Like he was breaking down every in a certain way. So at the same time, it's just like you can definitely talk about like different things, and you definitely shouldn't have to feel like you have to give up on podcasting because everybody can go ahead and start small. But the thing is, as long as you have a voice that some people want to go ahead and hear, some people will be interested in like what you have to say. Like I think it's like mediocre tutorials and reviews. He literally just started off like podcasting. And now he goes ahead and reviews just like a lot of different things.
Just anything, basically.
Just anything. Like he'll do it like pop the balloon segments. He'll be like, okay, like let's see what this woman is about. Let's go through her Instagram. Let's see if she's even worthy to go ahead and say something about like, like the type of criticism that she's giving men. Or, oh, okay, like, I'm reviewing this TikTok about like what this woman is saying about like men. Let's see what she has to say. Oh, okay, let's go ahead and review this Kevin Samuels video and what this woman is saying to Kevin Samuels and why she's wrong. Why is she too masculine? Why is she going back and forth for a man that's like twice her age? Why is she trying to be funny? So at the same time, a lot of people, they find a niche in like what they're looking for. So the thing is, as long as you're true to yourself, your own people will go ahead and find you and they'll go ahead and want to watch your videos for you, whether it's your personality, whether it's the certain things that you talk about or anything that you have to offer.
I feel like another reason why I'm pursuing this is because you know how Africans are. Well, I don't know if your parents are like how mine are, but they used to have CNN all the time on TV. And I remember being a kid, it's like if I wanted to change the channel and put it on anything else, I'll get disciplined. And so I'm a kid coming back from school, just seeing, Anderson Cooper on CNN. I'm just seeing this reporter always different regions of the world just reporting on what's going on. So I took a liking in that. I'm like, yo, I don't know what this guy does completely, but I like what he does. And around the time, that's when I'm already journaling a lot. So it's just like, man, I'm journaling, you know, I can't really watch TV on the weekday. So Monday through Friday, TV's on CNN. So while I'm doing my homework, I'm just seeing this dude report and talking about like what's happening in the world. And it's just like, man, I'm journaling. I'm seeing what this reporter is saying. So that acted as motivation to continue journaling. So, I think you're definitely right in the sense that like, even though I'm transitioning to, being on camera to um say what I gotta say. I feel like I shouldn't lose what led to this, which is basically, all started from my love for journaling.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, like really, like just like you said, like I'm not gonna lie, but my dad, he just loves CNN. Like the channel was always on CNN, MSN, like ABC, like whether he's watching like the local news, whether it's like Fox News, everything like that. He literally just like love to watch it, and it'll be people like Anderson Cooper, it'll be like Don Lemon, like these people will literally just go like back and forth, having debates about whatever, and even still to this day, they're still doing it. Like if they're going ahead and like talk about like Trump's policies, if they're going ahead and talking about like Biden, if they're going ahead and talking about like Kamala, it's like there's always some type of like repertoire between like both parties where it's not necessarily like they're talking like on the same level. It's just like, one person has an opinion and the other person has an opinion, and they just have like different talking points on which to discuss. Because most of the time, they're not necessarily agreeing on the same point. It's like most of the time they're usually just kind of like going back and forth between like certain things. And I remember the number one thing, I remember even back in college, like you would love to keep the TV on ESPN. Like, bro, when we had the TV on the fridge, I was just like, bro, this guy always has the TV on Sports Center. Like, can he not like watch anything else? Like, bro, we got Nickelodeon, we got like Cartoon Network. Like, we can't watch something like that. No, you always keep it on like ESPN, which is crazy because that's the main reason why I always keep it on like ESPN. But yeah, no, like even on those type of programs, you'll have like Stephen A. Smith. You'll go ahead and have like, well, now it's gonna be like Shannon Sharp. Just go like going back and forth, just going ahead and just like having certain discussions and everything like that. Even back then, it used to be even Skip Bayless talking with like, Stephen A. Smith. Before then it was like Shannon, and then like, So that's why like I'm not gonna lie, like there was always like little certain hints that it was just like in terms of like journalism, like I always been seeing it even like with my dad, and then like even with like just like watching like, the sports newscaster, just like kind of like go back and forth about like certain different topics and stuff like that. So yeah, journalism is really everywhere. So however somebody wants to go ahead and make their own, films, it's like they can go ahead and do it like that way.
I think that's why also like when I would go to functions, it's like yeah, like I'm enjoying, the vibe, what everyone's on, the food, etc. But it's like I would crave more the convos I would have with certain people. Like even you witnessed it, at Luke's wedding. I'm chopping it up with the cameraman for like an hour, and it's just like I'm even hearing y'all. I'm hearing you, Sydney, and a couple other people just grumbling like, "Yo, he's really still talking to this guy," and it's just like, yeah, it's just the of art of how much you could carry a convo. Like I take beauty in that. Like that's an art form to me, and so me being on camera, starting this podcast, it's like I understand I'm gonna make mistakes, just like everything else in life. But I'm really trying to carry this because I'm passionate in it. Journaling, watching reporters, to now I'm trying to, you know, do something similar.
See, the crazy part is we weren't even really like getting on you for like having like a conversation like with the guy. It was just like we were just like really like more surprised because what we were really saying behind the scenes, we were just like, yo, Andrew is like the type of person that is just like, if he does start a convo with somebody, it's gonna be like a meaningful convo. Like it's gonna be a convo where it's just like I'm not just like talking to you for like maybe like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and it's just like, okay, well, nice to meet you, and it's like no, it was like we were just more surprised because it was just like the bond that you had just by like communicating with somebody, even just for like a moment. It's like it was like something where it was just like, okay, now this is different than like what we are used to. Because most of the time, like whenever we talk to anybody, whether it's like a guy that we don't know or whether it's like a girl that we're trying to get to know, most of the time we go ahead and cut the convo short. Like if it's a girl, we'll just be like, hey, how you doing? Like I want to talk to you or whatever, whatever. Can I get your number or can I get your Instagram and talk? And then at that point, it's like you're talking after the fact. It's like you're right there in person. Anything that y'all want to go ahead and talk about, y'all can talk about it right there. But a lot of people, they're just like a lot more different and they're like a lot more reserved to the point where it's just like, I'd rather talk to you whether it's like on the phone or over text. And that doesn't necessarily make sense. Or even if it's a guy, it's like we don't build any type of like meaningful relationships like with each other unless we already know each other. So it's like, oh, okay, what's up, bro? Okay, that's cool. All right, bet cool. Nice to meet you. You don't even remember the guy's name. And it's just like there's nothing different. Like there's no change. But you, it's like the conversation that you'll have with somebody, like whether you're only meeting them for the first time, it's just like, you know, no, you're cool. Like, go ahead and tell me more about like, what you do. Like, how can I go ahead and like build myself up from like whatever we might have in common. And it's just like, no, like at the end of the conversation, you realize, okay, I had a meaningful conversation with you, whether it was an hour, whether it was 2 hours. I learned something from you, you learned something from me. And then at that point, it's like, you already build a friendship, whether it's with a woman, whether it's with a guy. Just like you already build something from that. So yeah, I definitely see like in terms of like the conversation, you wanted to go ahead and talk like more with people. So that's why I was like, we weren't really trying to get on you. We were just really surprised because we were just like, oh wow, like he was talking to him for like an hour. We don't usually see that these days. And then at the wedding, we were just like, oh, he's still talking to him. Like they must really be good friends. Y'all had only met each other a couple hours ago. Y'all had nothing in common, but the conversation that y'all had and the bond that y'all built, just even straight from just like you having a conversation with him, he probably felt special because he's a cameraman. Nobody's really talking to him. He might know some people, but
I was just amazed how open he was. Like I'm asking, I guess he felt that I was asking the right questions, which he was surprised. And then now he's pulling out his suitcase full of tools, and he's an expert in this field. But I guess the thing in my mind was like, yo, like he brought out his niche. So now I gotta make sure like I keep on with the questions. I can't mess up on whatever questions I ask next, because if I ask the wrong questions, he's gonna get dissatisfied and end this convo. So I felt like there's Andrew, but then there's my brain challenging me. So it's like I'm at war with my own self, making sure like I'm able to keep this convo with this guy. So it was just like, yeah. And then I'm just hearing you guys in the background. But while I'm ignoring y'all, I'm at war with myself, because it's just like, keep this convo going, keep this convo going. You don't want to have this guy de-interested. So it's just like, man. So I guess that's a con about like craving conversations all the time. Like it's a passion I have, but it could also be a con because there's times you just don't know when to stop that convo. That individual may be so interested that now when you're trying to back off, they may be like, "Hey, we're like, what are you doing?" Like, so I just didn't want it to go down that route. So it's just like, yo, I just gotta keep asking, you know. So
but is there something like with you in general that you feel like, okay, like I feel the need to sometimes go ahead and pursue conversations because, like I said before, like there have been times where like, everybody will just be chilling, everybody will just be to themselves. But for whatever reason, like you might find somebody of like a certain type of interest and you go ahead and start a conversation with them. But at the same time, when you start that conversation with them, it's not a short conversation. You go ahead and keep it up. Like, is there something
was
where
this something that I was displaying even at the
at the wedding? Yeah. You were
what?
talking about at first when you were talking to like the girl that was like sitting down, she was just like, sitting down and you're just like, hey, how are you doing? And you just went ahead and just like started having a whole conversation. And y'all literally went ahead and like sat for like maybe like an hour. Y'all even took pictures together. Or like even like with the camera guys, like, yeah, you might have like some type of interest and it's like, you talk about something. It's like, yeah, they can go ahead and answer you. But what is it that is just like, I want to go ahead and talk more because like I feel like there's some type of interest in terms of like having a conversation.
Um, I'm not even trying to bring personalities in this, introvert, extrovert. Let's just ignore that. It's just, I'm just intrigued by things. When you just, there's people who really just want to know things, So like, it's like the more you know, the better. Like I guess I try to ignore the fact on how embarrassing it will be, how embarrassing the situation will be. So it's just like, you know, if they see that I have no harmful intentions and they see that I'm really just trying to get to the root of that knowledge, they'll rock with it and they'll just continue giving, because it's not like I'm just asking just to ask. Like I'm genuinely asking, like, I'm asking with a purpose. Again, that purpose ties back to a passion. So, and I think it all ties back to, having that passion in journaling, studying, reporters that I used to see on TV. So I think now it's just a part of me. Like I can't even help it. Like, I just didn't know it was a thing I was displaying even back in college. I didn't know it was spotted.
Dude, you'll be surprised. Like there's so many times like in college where the thing is like everybody loved you. Like even in high school, everybody loved you. In college, everybody loved you. Like everybody thought you were funny. Everybody was just like, yo, Andrew's cool. Like I like having a conversation with Andrew. People would like literally walk up to me. They said, where's Andrew? Where's your friend Andrew? Like everybody was just always asking about you because at the end of the day, the kind of bond that you have with certain people, you are always just like a person that they could always talk to. Like you were always just like more level headed. You always just like chill. You always like funny. You always said the right thing. and you always cared about people. So that's why people always wanted to go ahead and ask about you. So yeah, even back then, you would be surprised. And that's what I'm saying. I'm surprised that you don't remember, but like literally anybody that would bring around, like you could talk to anybody. And you were never afraid to talk to anybody. Somebody that's probably like, let's say like a 10 out of 10 in attractiveness level, that a lot of guys are just like afraid to be like, yo, I'm afraid to talk to her. I'm nervous. You'll just walk up to her and just start having like a random conversation because you don't necessarily see people like for like what they look like, and you're not afraid or intimidated by like how they look. It's just like, no, if this person is like good enough to go ahead and have a conversation with, I'll go ahead and talk. And that's why a lot of people are just like, wow, like a lot of people usually they don't have conversations with me. Like I usually can't talk to them because most of the time they're either trying to talk about something else that's like some nonsense, or just like they're either too afraid. But you were always that type of person where it was just like, nah, like for whatever reason, like this is a person I can talk to and have a good conversation with. Like there's no type of nonsense that comes out of this person. So yeah, since
Like
that's
I think it got to the point where like I don't know if you remember like this security dude, one of the securities from that used to stay in the comments.
from Georgia State, yeah.
Yeah. It came to the point where like when I would leave the library and try to get back to my dorm, I would run into him, and it's just like library closed at 2. I'll get to my dorm. I'll get to the comments. Let's say like 2. All right. I should be in the dorm, but I'm having a conversations with the security. That's now like 30 minutes, and it's just like yeah. So I guess a con would be like not knowing when to stop. It's just like yeah, like not knowing when to stop. So now you just like you just have a lot of bonds with a lot of people.
And the thing is, it's not necessarily too bad to like feel like whenever you do have a conversation with somebody, it's like I have like the feeling that I can't stop, because at the end of the day, that's just good. That's just good conversation. And that's even great for journalism. Like at the same time, you want everything to go ahead and be natural. You don't want it to be on a certain level where it's just like, okay, well, when I'm talking to somebody, I have to like think of like maybe like what else next to say. Like I have to like maybe like word like my thoughts to the point where it's just like, okay, maybe this is how I could flow. It's like, no, for you, it's like everything is natural. So the thing is, and you could talk to anybody about like anything, like whether it's somebody that you haven't met, that's even better, because for a lot of people that do journalism and that like they do like a lot of like talking, it's like they usually have to have like points, and then the conversation doesn't necessarily flow naturally. But at least for you, somebody could be a rapper that you probably like never met before, and you could really just ask them like one question and then go ahead and figure out their whole entire life just by off of that one question from the beginning.
I guess another thing that motivates me too is like, I was born here, but I was raised in, in the Ivory Coast, nation in West Africa. So it's like when I came back here, like people already looking at me like, yo, like I'm not from here. So it's just like, but technically I was born here. So it's just like they're looking at me like like I started as an ESOL student. So it's just like, I remember just being I got made fun of, like early on, I got, bullied, but so, there was not like I couldn't get any lower. So it was just like, even if you have to embarrass yourself, like get to know people, ask questions. So I think that's something that just carried with me. It's just like, like there's times where it's like I'll ask questions that someone would find offending. Like I'll be like, what do you do? And it's just like to someone that's in the streets, they'll take that a certain type of way. They'll be like, why do you want to know that? But it's just like, no, like what do you do? So after a couple questions, they'll get comfortable. So it's just like, even if I have to put myself in a situation where I have to embarrass myself, let it be, because I know the conversation is getting somewhere. Like as long as I learn, because technically you don't have to go to school to acquire knowledge. There's people out here that are gonna give you knowledge, depending on how they find you. So, ask the right questions. Well, know yourself first, you know, ask the right questions, and people will be willing to tell you all about them.
Yeah,
So
I'm not gonna lie. Like when I was in elementary school, I also got put in ESOL too, because
no
even
way.
yeah, no, when I like for whatever reason, like my parents, they were just like, yo, like, cause I was gifted, so I was like extremely smart, but for whatever reason, I just never used to talk to like anybody in class, and I think like literally like when I was like in the second grade and third grade, I literally used to get bullied, and according to my mom, I used to like fight like some of the other kids, like. The teacher would like ask a question, and before any of the other kids can go ahead and answer, I already know the answer, and I go ahead and say it out loud. They thought I was disruptive. They were just like, "Oh, this kid is like a bad kid. Let's go ahead and send him off to ESOL." So I used to just sit in a small classroom full of like two, three other kids, and like literally it was just like somewhat disruptive to the point where, you know, at some point like they had to actually transfer me out of ESOL. But at that point it was just like I had like no friends. It was like so hard to like make friends. So I also did the same thing that you did too. Like I felt like I had to put myself in like a class clown persona. And I felt like I had to be like the type of entertainer, the type of person that always had to like go ahead and talk and embarrass myself just so that like, you know, I would get at least some type of attention. Because I'm not gonna lie, like really being like a young child and like not having any friends and getting bullied for whatever reason, it's like very detrimental for like your childhood. So at some point I actually had to be the type of person where it's like I had to get out of like my comfort zone. I had to be the type of person that's like interacting with everybody, whether it's like the cool kids, whether it's like the nerds, whether it's like anybody. Like I felt like I had to be that type of person that just had to interact with all the types of the communities, just so that like, you know, I could like dip my hand in like different types of layers of the community that was like, you know, grade school. So after that, it's like, you know, even looking back at the reunion that just literally happened like a couple months ago, they literally went at like I had people from like different sectors all just like, oh no, you know, you were cool. And I was just like, you know, I remember having a conversation with you. I don't, you know, I don't know about cool now, but like I remember having a conversation with you. It'd be some of the football players, some of the cheerleaders, then it'd be some of the quiet people. Like everybody did remember who I was. Why? Because I went ahead and talked to just everybody because I didn't want to be alone. So I wanted to make sure that like my name was heard. I wanted to make sure that I was seen because, like I said, like in grade school, it's a very dark place and a lot of people really won't see you for anything like that. But if you at least communicate with like everybody, then at least you'll be able to go ahead and find like, at least some type of like place within one type of group. And luckily for me, I found it in a different type of couple groups, and you know, I'm a little well known for that.
So, as someone that's trying to dive into the digital world, which involves like social media, me having a podcast and you being in that world, you being an expert in that world, what are a couple lessons or tips you recommend telling someone like me?
I mean, like I said before, I'm not gonna lie, like, especially if you really want to be like, you know, prominent on social media, I would definitely say like, just be you. Like, people will love you for being you. And a lot of people, they become somebody that they don't want to be, or they become somebody that's just arrogant and that people just don't like. Like, so for example, I was even just watching a YouTube video today about like a guy named Jack Dorsey. And like, for whatever reason, a lot of people are saying that he's like an arrogant child that just has a lot of money.
Jack Dorsey, that's a Twitter former CEO, right?
No, Jack Dorsey. He's like a young kid that's just like usually just like on YouTube. I know what you're talking about, but it's like a young dude that's just like on YouTube, and for whatever reason, he makes a lot of just like meaningless and just like kind of like arrogant things on social media, like whether he's talking on Twitter or whether he's like posting on YouTube. And the thing is, like, a lot of people just don't like the stuff that he posts because he'll just be like, oh yeah, like, you know, I just walked outside and like, you know, outside of my like $3 million mansion, or like he crashes McLaren car, which is worth at least a couple $100,000, and then by the time he got back home, he's like, oh yeah, like these are like my two Lambos that are still fine. And it's like, no, you were streaming and recording while you were driving, crashed into the medium, nearly killed some people, nearly killed your friend. You didn't show any remorse for your friend that was injured during the accident. And it's just like, you know, you're still recording content. And it's just like everything doesn't have to necessarily be for social media. You shouldn't have to feel like you're distant from being a human being just to go ahead and entertain the masses. Some people, they go ahead and like to keep themselves like at a natural state. They like to go ahead and be themselves. And when you're authentic and you're yourself, people will go ahead and love you for that because you're not necessarily changing. You're not giving a facade. You're not showing that you're not you. You're going ahead and doing what you want to go ahead and be in your lane. And for myself, like I said, like on social media, whether I'm posting on Instagram or I'm posting anywhere else, it's like I like to be myself. People know who I am. The thing is, have I had people that's following me on Instagram and unfollow me because of the stuff that I post? Absolutely. It happens all the time. Whether it's women, whether it's guys, there are people that just don't like the stuff that I post. But the thing is, it's perfectly fine because the rest of the people, they all either enjoy what I watch or they just watch what I watch and they find some type of interest in it. Like, I only have maybe like, let's say like 760 followers on Instagram. And there are some people that have 3,000 followers on Instagram. these people only get maybe like 50 views on their story. I just post my daily life and I just post the stuff that I always post. And I easily can pull in 300 views like it's nothing. And in my head, I'm just like, why is it that the person with more views getting less views than me? Meanwhile, I have like 3 times less followers than them. And for whatever reason, I'm pulling in almost like 6 times their viewers. It's because whatever other people post, they don't necessarily care to see. It's like whatever they post, it's not interesting. But the thing is, like when I post, people might be like, oh, what did he post this time? Whether they know that something that I post, and oh, I know Dayo's about to post something crazy. I know he's just about to post something that's just like, it's wild. Or it might be funny. It might be entertaining. But they look forward to what I post. So they make sure to go ahead and click on my story to go ahead and look on that. Other people, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, when you're yourself or you're not necessarily entertaining, nobody's going to come and check on you. But when you have something that somebody wants to look for, they'll always come looking for that. So that's necessarily how I got successful in the sense of just like being on social media. And I've had 3 pages with 100,000 followers. Now, because of my recklessness, I've gotten those pages deleted. So that's just that. And I also like to keep my private life like a little condensed and just like private. So I made sure that like right now that like everybody that's following me, I at least know them, or it's somebody that at least we have a lot of mutual friends together. But besides that, like no, I don't necessarily care about like posting for the masses of everybody else. I would much rather post for like, you know, my close friends. But if for any advice, I would say that like, you know, if you're posting on YouTube, there are some people that maybe necessarily want to go ahead and find the type of niche that you're posting for. Like there might be somebody that's like, you know, this person talks about like hot topics a lot. They go ahead and post about like things that are happening currently like within the world. Let's go ahead and like watch this to see like what his opinion is about that. Or, you know, whether you're some type of entertainment person and it's just like, oh, I know his life is wild every day. I know there's going to be something lit about like what he's doing. I want to go ahead and see what he's doing on this day. There are different type of factors that can go ahead and incorporate into like whatever style you want to go ahead and do.
I like how you brought up the fact that you know you post for you, like you don't post to please the masses, and it shows because you admitted that you even don't have a lot of followers, but you don't care about that because every time you get on social media, you're doing it, you know, for your own reasons. You're not doing it to please the masses. Social media is such a it's like an entity on its own. You can enter social media still being the same person that you are, or you could let it transform you. And I like how you, Dale, you just didn't let social media change who you were. Some people, you know, they let social media change them, you know, to where like, you know, they gotta care about the amount of likes they get. You know, they have to have more people following them than the people that they follow. So I don't know if I said that right.
No, I get what you mean. Like a lot of people, like they really like to go ahead and like post for like whatever reasons. And like I said, like a lot of people kind of post and they have like some type of facade that's going on with them. But for whatever reason, like you said, like I only post for me. I've had people that's just like, you know, unfollow me just off of like, oh well, you know what? You post too much of this, and I don't like exactly like what this is. Like I don't want to go ahead and like look at this anymore. And I'm like, that's perfectly fine. You know, the 767 other people that watch my story, they don't mind it. And for whatever reason, they watch my story. They enjoy it. The thing is, I remember one time, like I said before, my Instagram had gotten deleted because of some of the nonsense that I was posting. When it got deleted, people literally walked up to me and they were just like, are you alive? Are you depressed?"
Man, I remember I was low key tweaking. I'm like, yo, my boy, you know, like I wanted to check up on you. Like I knew you were there, but I'm like, man, yo, like this guy, like he does him, and I respect it regardless of what he posts. But the fact that he's not on this platform, it's like, yo, where is he? So you had me tweaking because you weren't being you.
But my Instagram had got deleted, and I remember I was just like, I've had this Instagram for not even like, I think it was like maybe at least like 8 months. Cause I think, yeah, I didn't have a friend. Well, I made it in January 2020. It got deleted in like, I think like August 2022. So I didn't even have it for 8 months. And I remember I had people just like texting me. They're just like, are you alive? I said, yeah, I'm alive. Like, what's the issue? They said, oh, okay, because I don't know, I don't see your Instagram anymore. I said, so if I just don't have Instagram, like that doesn't mean I'm like not alive. They'd be like, I had people texting me just like, are you feeling like suicidal or like do you have depression? And I'm like texting them back like, what do you mean? They said, you're not on Instagram anymore. Like, I'm just trying to make sure that you're all right. And I was like, so you're telling me that because I don't even post that, like, it's something to where like somebody wants to go ahead and check for my well-being. It's just like, that just goes to show that, like, again, some people are just like, we know who you are as a person, and we know the certain types of things that you do. You constantly update us on your life. You constantly show us things that are around. You like to be funny. You like to be entertained. We know this is part of you. And for whatever reason, you go ahead and change off of that path, we might feel like something is wrong. And especially if it's not necessarily on purpose. Like, let's say, for example, if I always used to post a lot of, crazy things on Instagram, and for whatever reason, like, my account started to get limited, and they say, if you post something like this again, we'll go ahead and delete you. If I go ahead and inform the masses will be sad because they'll be like, dang, we really like what you post. We always look forward to seeing what you post. That's different. Mm-hmm. But if for whatever reason my whole content just completely changed and I'm not like me, people will be like, this is not you. Is everything okay? Why are you doing this? We look forward to who you are and what you post. Whether we like it or whether we don't like it, we look forward to seeing it. So if something changes, we know and we feel like something is wrong. So that's why I said that, like, when people go ahead and love you for who you are and your own personality and what you present out to the public, then that's what you really got to go ahead and stick with, because that's what people will go ahead and know you for. So I think that's definitely, like, really what it is. Like, it's crazy that people, they thought I was off the deep end because my Instagram was just deleted, and I just made another one in a month. Everybody just started following me back again. Everybody said, we missed you. We missed your shenanigans. We missed what you post.
No, really, because you even had me affected, because even though some of the stuff you post could be wild sometimes, I respect it, I've always respected, the type of stuff you post, because it's just like, I love when people do them, it's well respected. So, you know, thank you for the main message that you told me, if I plan on pursuing, podcasting as a form of journal, to just always be myself.
Yeah,
Always be myself.
Yeah, you got to, because at the end of the day, like, who you are as a person and deep down to your core, that's really just gonna go ahead and make your future career. Like, you can't necessarily strive off of like whatever path that you're making for yourself, because that's how you lose yourself in the deep end. Like I said before, there are a lot of internet personalities where they used to be true to who they were, and they either let different factors affect them, like whether it was money, whether it was fame, whether it was attention, whether it was just trying to go ahead and give a certain type of face to a community that they felt like will be proper in terms of like becoming successful. It's just like, you can't strive off of that path. You definitely have to go ahead and stick with who you are as a person.
So when you know who you are in this world, people would sense that, and they'll rock with you more than someone who has the money and the wealth and just putting on a facade.
Yeah, they'll definitely go ahead and rock with you. They'll respect you for it. And I feel like the respect for it is the number one thing. Like, at the end of the day, you have to make sure that you are true to who you are, and then everything will go ahead and go from there.